Michelle, we've been talking about what you've done and how you got here and your passion to make a difference in the type of housing choices that are out there and lead people to make the right choice for their particular situation. Here we are looking ahead, no crystal ball, and there's no harm in asking an expert, which is what I want to do. What do you envision? What is going to be the next coming thing that you think might be there 5, 10, 15 years from now in housing for elders?
So I see the model of small communities of people. I mean,
Number.
whether it's shared housing.
Small as in what number? Range?
Well, first of all, I want to say that almost everyone would choose to stay home if they could. I see in the future that there'll be more and more services to support people in being able to stay in their home. The Villages is a great example of that.
Explain the Villages. That's one that has sprung up around the country, but Portland is one of the few places that has a maturing concept of what the Villages are. Explain that.
So the Village movement started back in Beacon Hill, Massachusetts, and it was, I don't know, 15 years ago, maybe something like that, at least, when a neighborhood of people got together and said, we do not want to move out of our homes. We refuse to move out of our homes. What do we need to create in order to stay? So they created a model where they have services, usually discounted. Vendors for a small percentage discount will come in and help with things like, for example, cleaning gutters, maybe any home repair, things like that. And then there are also volunteers in the community, usually in the neighborhood, oftentimes that the village exists. So I should back up and explain that a village is not a place. A village is a neighborhood or an area. Say, for example,
with no boundary.
Right. The first village in Portland started in Mount Tabor. So just envision the Mount Tabor area as a village. Within certain boundaries, people who are living in their homes can get services. Villages are also developed individually, so they don't all have the same rules and regulations. It's up to the village to create, what the age ranges that they're serving. So the idea is to bring services into the home, either volunteer or vetted vendors at a discounted price, and then they also offer that socialization piece. And what they usually do is they will work with their local community centers so that they'll have, different social events or different lectures or Tai Chi activities, so that the village members have a place where they converge and have that socialization piece.
And these are relatively new and being developed around the country, and every one is a little bit different. Where do you see the village movement or the village concept going?
Well, I, of course, am a strong believer that the village movement would go really well with shared housing. And because the villages are all developed differently, I just see it as a community participation. We're moving back toward taking care of each other again. And
so if you had the shared housing within one of the village communities, that's going to be the rich mix, especially the intergenerational mixes.
Right. And I love that. The wisdom of the elders with the energy of the younger generations. I think it could serve both very well.
Well, the brain science shows that if you can make sure on a regular basis that so many times a week for just a few hours, those doses of the energy of the youngster as you pitched it and the wisdom of the older generation, they mix with each other and they cross that barrier and give a different image of aging in our field. Those youngsters who have an image of a failed elder will then have that mindset for the rest of their lives. But if they have someone in a shared housing situation who's in a village and they see that person out doing things, that can change for that person's lifetime the image of successfully aging.
Right.
So how would you want to kind of summarize what you're doing and where it's heading?
Well, I don't know what I'll dream up next, but I am just so pleased to be able to be a part of this innovative movement, and I'm really excited to see the answers to the crystal ball that you just had set forth, and excited to see what's around the corner.
Well, and since I met you, your excitement has actually increased. I think it was a conference that I met you, and each time that you and I talked about your ideas and what you're going to do, you were always looking ahead and not knowing where it is. And it's almost like you know that you're going there. You don't know exactly what's going to be there, but you're going there as quickly as possible, never satisfied with anything except the next wave. So not good luck, but I know I'm going to be seeing you years from now, interview you on something that was not invented today, but it'll be there later, especially in the field of aging.
Well, and I'm excited about our conversations about doing some, what would you call that, sort of research regarding brain health and community. So as we have seniors living in community, how has that changed their brain function?
Yeah, and let me spend a little extra time here. And one of the things that Michelle was talking about is a conversation, and we've had several little ones over the years, that if her shared housing concept works, on what level and how much difference does it make? Someday we envision that there will be a research project taking several of these houses, some within the village concept, some outside, and before you match the people and they move in, you take the biomarkers. That's all a clinical trial is enough of those subjects that the biomarkers are taken before the move-in, and then after a certain period of time, a year or 2 years or 3 years, or periodically, the same biomarkers of everything from cognitive ability to health markers for heart, for all sorts of objective findings. We think that what's going to happen is that that's a place where people can thrive and that it will save health money. So could we get it subsidized?
Huge.
By the health money that would have gone for failed aging would go to successful aging.
And the other piece I did want to add too is I see in this vision, as people age together and maybe they start to need some assistance, that they could actually go together and hire somebody to maybe come in and do some cooking for them, and step in and maybe start doing some cleaning and those steps that they may need to have, but everybody contributes. And so it's that whole idea of a shared economy and a shared life, and that we don't have to work till we drop. If we, if we, instead of the American dream of everybody has their own car and their own house and their own everything, that you're then tied to the wheel of being able to pay for all that. What if we combined our resources? We could afford a nicer lifestyle than we can by ourselves, have community, and be able to do some of those other things we want to do and not work forever. So.
Especially when you describe community as something that expands where the need is, and that if this works, then the new American dream might be simply finding customized communities that can fit the people, and then everyone can thrive. So that's your new American dream.
Yeah, there we go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Well, this is
Thanks,
fun.
everybody.